Do you want to move that script?
Starting in 45 seconds. I've got to talk through your mic. BATV 5, MC 1, Space Rangers, 18th November 2019.
Hello and welcome to Rangers, the show where each week we take you on a fun and educational journey to explore a new place. Last week we were Jungle Rangers and this week we're going to outer space. That's right folks, this week we're going to be Space Rangers. I'm your head ranger, Captain Lewis Stride, and I'll be leading us on this adventure. So come on board and let's join an adventure on the rocket ship. This year marks the 50th anniversary of man landing on the moon. On July the 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong was the first man to step foot on the moon. And do you know what his famous words were? That's right, Neil said, "That's one small step for man and one giant leap for mankind." He and Buzz Aldrin walked around for a few hours collecting samples from the moon, and that's why today we're going to be making our very own moon rocks. So follow me as we head into our rocket ship and embark on a wonderful journey into outer space. Whoa, hey there Space Rangers. Right, let's get buckled into our spaceship and start the countdown. So that is T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, right, Space Rangers, now that we're all comfy inside our rocket, if you look out the window, you'll see the amazing planets that this solar system has to offer. So let's go through all 8 of them and learn a bit more about them. To help, last week we asked you to make your own planets out of paper mache and send them in to us. So, first off, we have Mercury. So, this is thanks to Liam from Basingstoke who sent this one in. Did you know Mercury is actually the closest planet to our Sun, and it is also the smallest planet in our solar system? Unlike our planet, where a year lasts for 365 days, on Mercury, a year lasts for only 88 days. How quick is that, Rangers? So next up we have Venus. This one was sent in from Caitlin in Buckinghamshire, so thank you, Caitlin. Venus is actually really super hot. It's actually the hottest planet in our solar system. It's also the brightest planet, so if you're out on one very lucky night, you might even be able to spot it from the Earth. Which brings us to a lovely planet, so thank you, Jasmine, for making this one in. The Earth is the 3rd planet from the Sun and is the only one that has organic life, so it's really important that we take care of it. Next up, we have Mars, which is known as the red planet. So thank you very much to Liam in London for sending that one to us. Did you know that that Mars is also known as the red planet due to its vibrant colour? And if you didn't already know, the mountains on Mars is actually the biggest in the whole solar system. There's a really big volcano called Olympus Mons. How cool is that? And after Mars, we have the biggest planet, which is known as Jupiter. So thank you to Maya from South London for sending this one in. A fun fact, Space Rangers, Jupiter is covered in clouds and is best known for its giant red spot, which, if you didn't know, is actually a really big raging storm that's happening on the planet right now. And the 6th planet is Saturn. So thank you for Lauren in Manchester for making this one. It's purple in colour and is most famous for its super thin rings that are made up of dust and icy chunks. Next up we have the planet Uranus, which is one of our blue planets. So thank you for Sinead in London for sending this one in. Rangers, did you know that humans have actually nicknamed Uranus the icy planet as it's really super cold? The minimum temperature is minus 224 Celsius. Now that is really, really cold. And last up, we have Neptune. So the planet Neptune was made from George in Bournemouth, so thank you very much, George. It's the furthest planet from our sun, and it's also blue in colour, just like Uranus. It has an atmosphere full of storms. So, what did you think of that, Space Rangers? How lucky and cool are we to have such amazing planets around us? And don't worry if you have trouble remembering the order, because we have this very easy acronym to help you spell it out, which goes, My very evil monster just speaks utter nonsense. Can you think of another way to remember the planet order? If so, get a parent or guardian to email us at rangerstv@bournemouth.co.uk. So, let's get ready to land on the moon. Now that we've seen all of our planets, we're about to land on the moon. Okay, let's go. Oh, right, what do we have here? Looks like we've stumbled across some moon rocks. Hang on, I've got an idea. Why don't we make some moon rocks of our very own? Okay, so I'm going to take you through a little very easy process to make some of your very own super cool space rocks. So first up, you're going to need a big mixing bowl and a wooden spoon, just like we have here. And then I put on some rubber gloves because it can get a little bit watery and messy, and we don't want that. Okay, so the first ingredient we're going to take is some baking soda. So a small bowl should be enough, and all you need to do with that one, just pour that in. There we go, so that's nice in there. Next ingredient, very easy, lots of water. So just add in sort of like a little splash, probably about 100 millilitres top. So we're going to pour that in there. There we go. And you can start just giving that a little mix just to sort of combine it together. And next up, we've got the glitter. So what I like to do is to add as much glitter as possible, because why not? So I'm going to pour some gold in there, and I'm also going to pour a bit of silver just to create a nice contrast. So here we go, and then our final ingredient will be some black food colouring. So this helps just to sort of make the rocks look a bit more spacey and a bit more realistic. So just going to pour that tube right into this mess. Here we go. Chisel that in. You need quite a bit, Rangers. And then finally, we're going to start mixing. So I'm just going to mix that right in there. As you can see, it's really starting to mould together now. So mixing, and what you might need to do is add a bit more black food colouring just to sort of help it look a bit more realistic. There we go. As you can see, this is really starting to come together now, but they do actually take a little while to dry. So what I do was I would leave that overnight, probably near like an oven or something a little bit warm, just so that they cool up. But luckily for us, we do actually have some which we made earlier. So here we go. Here are our space rocks, which we actually made last night. As you can see, they've proper solidified into really nice rocks now. They're really glittery and they're really kind of spacey, and they actually look like something that you'd find on the moon. And as you can see, these are starting to come in there, but they're not quite there yet, but it's okay, because once they dry, they'll be absolutely fine. So, what I like to do is I like to add lots of glitter, and they're just nice and amazing. So here we go. And you can sort of crumble them, but nice and spacey indeed. So thank you very much, and I think might be time for us to get back to our spaceship. Okay, so now when getting ready to launch any rocket, it's really important to consider that. Oh, hang on a second. Okay, it looks like we have a incoming message from Space Ranger Matt. Okay, so a few hours ago, we sent out Matt on a super secret top mission to the Planetarium to see what else he could find out about space. So I think let's see where he's gone.
Space Rangers have sent me on a mission to find out more about space and the solar system. Let's go and see what we can find out. Connor, nice to meet you.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. So, where are we today?
So, we're at the Science Zone in Boscombe, located in the Royal Arcade. We're a children's science centre. We've got loads of dinosaur models, fossils, we even do experiments. I understand you guys are here to look at our planetarium, is that correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, follow me this way. So, this is the planetarium. As you can see, it's not much, it's controlled by a computer and a projector. We've got a speaker with lots of wires and lots of remotes. But enough about that, shall we get started? Okay, so we start by looking at Earth and gradually moving past it to get to the moon. We approach the moon seeing what the astronauts would have seen 50 years ago this year. So here we can see the surface of the moon. Now 1972 was the first mission that sent scientists as well as astronauts And it is through our trips to the moon all these years ago that we've furthered our knowledge in space. That has enabled us to live in space as well. As we currently have people living on board something called the ISS, the International Space Station. And through the space station, we hope to learn how to live in space for even longer periods of time. Because in our interest, we want to go to Mars, and it takes 7 months to go to Mars. So let's have a look at the daily lives of astronauts on board the International Space Station. What's happening now is a sequence called docking. Docking usually happens here on Earth when we talk about boats in the ocean, but a lot of words used in space we also use here on Earth. Even the word astronaut means sailor of the stars. The space station is a culmination of different countries working together to build the largest man-made object in space. As we look at the space station, you can see different flags all over it, ranging from Russia to Japan, South Korea to Britain. All countries working together to forward our knowledge of our exploration in space. And we're actually going to start by looking at the kitchen. Now, the main thing in space is the lack of gravity. It helps us here a lot on Earth, more than you may realise. And our first example of that is here in the kitchen. You can only see that food is vacuum packed to save space, but that it also floats around above your heads, making cooking and making food quite difficult on the space station. Astronauts have to exercise for 2 hours a day because due to the lack of gravity, your bones and muscles start to deteriorate. So if you were to come back to Earth, you would find that you wouldn't be able to walk due to your bones and muscles being a bit lazy. Next up, the whole point of the space station is to further our knowledge in science, how to live for those extended periods of time. So it's all to do with recycling and growing plant life. Sleeping compartments are rather claustrophobic. They consist of a sleeping bag tying you to the wall, which helps regulate your blood pressure, and 2 laptops, one for work usage and one for personal usage as well. And lastly, the toilet. Now here on Earth, gravity makes sure that everything goes down directly into the toilet. Unfortunately in space, that too floats around. So we're given long tubes that have a little bit of suction to clear up all the mess that's left behind. The size of the space station. As we can see, it has the same surface area as a football pitch, and most of it is taken up by solar panels. Because in space, there is no atmosphere, so you can't have wind turbines. There's no fossil fuels, so you can't have petrol or diesel engines. You completely rely on solar energy to provide power to the space station.
Wow, wasn't that great?
Oh, thanks, Ranger Matt. Oh, and just in time. It looks like we're just coming in for our landing. So let's start the countdown at T-minus 10 seconds. 9, 8, and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. Whew. Oh, that was a bumpy landing. Oh, it was strange seeing Earth from that high up. Did you Rangers at home, do you actually know, Rangers, that at home, the Earth is actually shaped like a sphere? Like all the planets in our solar system, the Earth is round like a football, meaning that if you wanted to, you could walk all the way around it. The reason you don't fall off the edge is because of a force called gravity. Gravity is a downward force that pushes down on everything around us. On Earth, gravity keeps everything in place to make sure that we all don't just float off. When you're on the moon, there is much less gravity because the moon is a lot smaller than the Earth. This means that if you were to stand on the surface of the moon and jump, you would start floating away. Gravity is also really important up in space too, because it means that everything is made sure that all the planets stay in their orbits around the sun. Without gravity, there would be no planets, and they'd all just sort of be floating all around the place, so it's all a bit crazy. Gravity is a really, really important force and was actually invented by Sir Isaac Newton. Oh, hasn't this been really fun, Space Rangers? We've been learning a lot on this trip. I think this trip has been amazing, and I don't know about you, but I think I'm really happy with all the space knowledge that we've learnt. So, now that we're back on Earth, let's get ready for next week's adventure. Now, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but you'll need your snorkels and flippers. So, this week has been really fun, and I'm so glad that you've joined me.